Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. First of all, my brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In today's session, we're going to look at the Day of Judgment. There's going to be a very, very special place. And that place is going to be the only shade that Allah Azza wa Jalla has created, and there's no other shade besides that shade. So Allah Azza wa Jalla has, on the Day of Judgment, no human being, no jinns, no animals, no one will have any shade whatsoever. What Allah Azza wa Jalla will do is that He will make one shade that is of His throne. Now, His throne is beyond what we can even imagine to measure. Now that throne underneath there, what will happen is that in the beginning, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he comes up from his grave, he will see Musa alayhi salam clinging onto one of the pillars of the throne, and then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be the second to have. So he will see he will see Musa alayhi salam who will cling on the throne, and he says is most likely because Musa alayhi salam already had the when he was on the mountain, he said, Rabbi arini anzur ilayk, oh Allah, show me yourself. And then Allah Azza wa Jalla, He revealed something very, very small to the mountain, which the mountain couldn't take, and Musa alayhi salam dropped to the ground. So it could be because of the fact that Musa alayhi salam already had that one experience, that on the Day of Judgment he will be the first to wake up. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, straight away when he gets up, what does he see? He sees that Musa alayhi salam is already clinging onto that, and then Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam goes straight under the arsh, under the one and only shade, and all the Anbiya alayhim salam will also follow, and they'll be there. And Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in, the ones that were close to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, many of them will be there. And this will be a moment when the whole of the creation of Allah Azza wa Jalla will all want to get under that throne. Now imagine when we get to that position, every one of us is going to be coming out of our graves, and we don't know where we're going to be. We don't know how far we're going to be from this thing. Now, one good news is that believers, inshallah, will be closer to this place. Okay, especially those people who will be allowed to get inside. Hopefully they'll be closer. Otherwise, some way or another, Allah Azza wa Jalla will give them a way of getting inside under the arsh. As for the people who are not practicing Islam properly, and as for the people who are deniers of the message that Allah Azza wa Jalla sent, then those people will be far away, or they won't be allowed to enter under this throne. Now, those of them who reach there, the Hawd will be there. Now, what is the Hawd? The Hawd is a pool, a massive pool, and this is one massive pool which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has. But there will be other pools that every single Nabi and every single Prophet will have, and every Prophet will honor their ummah when they come to them under the arsh. So first, there's a thing of will you get under the arsh? Will you get under the throne of Allah or not? And the second is, once you get inside there, then you go to your Prophet, and then your Prophet gives you the drink from their fountain. Our fountain that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will have will be the Fountain of Al-Kawthar. Now, this is a very, very, very special thing that Allah Azza wa Jalla gave the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whenever they made fun of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever they hurt the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah gave Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam something greater in return. So when one of his enemies started to make mockery of the Prophet ﷺ, that he's got no children, sons that are living, he's got no sons that are living on, and all his sons are dying young, that's when that enemy made so much sarcasm out of the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, "Oh, you're just like abtar. You're like an animal that has got his tail cut off." Right? You don't have an offspring that will last. Your lineage won't last through a son on this earth. And the Prophet ﷺ, obviously, he was deeply hurt by this. And in return of this, Allah Azza wa Jalla said in the Holy Quran, He said, "Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar." We have already declared that we're going to give to you the pool, the fountain of Kawthar. Now, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has described this fountain, and this fountain is described as a drink that will be there, that will be whiter than milk, sweeter than honey, and whosoever drinks from it once, he will never or she will never become thirsty ever again, ever, not even if they were to pass by hellfire. Or if they were to come under the sun. Look, now the rest of the Day of Judgment, apart from this arsh, apart from this throne, and where you've got this this shade Allah has created, the rest of the Day of Judgment has got no shade. So even if you were to pop out there after this and you've had the drink, then you cannot become thirsty because you've had the drink. Subhanallah al-Azim. So now, the Prophet ﷺ is there at the pool and he's waiting for his ummah to come. Now, one by one, they start coming, and he himself, ﷺ, serves the ummah. It will have 120 different stations around it for people to drink. And each one, the cups and so on have been described as silver sort of cups. And this is the nourishing drink as a welcome on the Day of Judgment because of all the people who have made it under the arsh. Now you've got to make it under there. If we can't make it under there, then you're out there. May Allah Azza wa Jalla protect all of us. Okay, so Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has given us, he's told us how to get there. Now, one of the things he said, let me tell you this, in a separate hadith, before he passed away, he said those people who basically don't fight one another, those people who have the opportunity to fight, but they don't fight one another, especially from this ummah. So the ummah doesn't fight part of this ummah. They are the people Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said. He said, you will meet me at the hawd. Right? He said this specifically to Sahaba radiallahu anhum at 9, and this goal comes across to all of us as well. So those of us who are not in any, we're not causing fights within the ummah. You can become part of this, especially when it comes to killing and so on. Those people who are killing, part of the ummah, wants to kill part of the ummah, they're not getting a chance of getting inside, this place. So this is a significant thing which he said, because he knew that he had made du'as while he was alive, and one of the du'as he made was that he didn't want his ummah to fight one another. And Allah Azza wa Jal didn't accept that du'a, so which means that there will be fights in this ummah, but what Allah Azza wa Jal, he wants us to refrain from this. Now, in a hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there are many people whom Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has spoken about who might get under this arsh in separate hadith. So there will be those who have given the adhan and those who have done other acts who will get under this arsh. But in one hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he speaks about 7 categories of people that will come under this arsh. And these are 7 specific categories. Now, don't forget, on the Day of Judgment, whichever category of people you belong to, may Allah Azza wa Jalla put us in the right category, but whichever category people belong to, they will come up with them. So the Prophet ﷺ said that every person will have, every person who's deceived, who's lied, who's done something bad, they will have a flag that will come up from their behind. It will be placed in their behind and it will come up, and the one who's the greatest of all that group of people, he'll be leading all of them. So for example, Qabil, who was the murderer, the son of Adam, who was the Adam alayhi salam, his son was a murderer, and he's the first murderer. He will have the leadership of all the murderers in this world. Every single murderer will be in his category. Those people who didn't do their salah, they'll be in one category. Those people who did, who lied, there'll be another category. Those people who said the truth, there'll be another category. The shuhada, or those who are martyrs, will be another one. So each and every one of these groups, Allah Azza wa Jalla will raise, and they'll just find one another next to one another, and they won't be able to move from that place. If Allah Azza wa Jalla doesn't give any permission for a person to move, they can't move from that place. This is not like this world where you can just go where you want. Allah Azza wa Jalla will bring people forward, and when He brings them forward, every single person will see this, this thing in the middle. Most likely it will be the arsh of Allah. Most likely it will be that shade where everybody wants to get inside. And Allah Azza wa Jalla has said in the Holy Quran, what's the matter with them today? What's the matter with them today? They're coming from the right, they're coming from the left, and they want to get to you. Everyone wants to be next to the Prophet ﷺ on this day. Everyone wants to be next to the Anbiya and the Prophets on this day. But only the lucky ones, and only those who have actually got got the privilege to be in here, inshallah, they will be there. So the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned 7 different categories that will be under this arsh. Now, don't forget, this is the best place you can be, and the Day of Judgment will stretch for different people. So depending on the sins of different people, they will find it either 1,000 years according to Surah Alif Lam Mim Sajda, the 32nd surah, or 50,000 years according to Surah Al-Ma'arij, which is the 69th surah of the Quran. Now, there's no contradiction between these ayats, because what it is, it's relative to different people. depending on the sin, that's how, depending on how much sin there is, that's how long Allah Azza wa Jalla will make the day of judgment. Now, those who are true believers, they will feel the moment they've actually passed away to the moment they reach the doors of Jannah, they will feel, according to a Sahih Hadith of Muslim, they'll feel that it is only been 2 rakats of the Fajr Sunnah prayer. And how long does that take for us to do? 2 to 3 minutes, 4 minutes max, you're going to do it in. And that's how long they feel the entire journey has been. That's because of the level of faith. So depending on how long how deep the faith is, that's how quick Allah will make a person feel, or how, depending on how much sin a person might have, that's how long Allah Azza wa Jalla will make people feel that the day of judgment is. So anyway, of the 7 categories, the Prophet ﷺ says the first one is Imamun Adil. The first one is that leader who was a just leader. Now, there are many leaders on this earth. Now, this could be any type of leader. This will definitely be a leader who has got a large congregation behind him, but any type of great leader who's got the ability to judge between people, or to stay between falsehood and the truth, and the leader decides to stay on the side of justice. The leaders, because once you're a leader, it's not easy to be in that position where everyone will love you. You can't have everyone loving you. You should know the nature of being in leadership is that you're always going to get people who are going to be frustrated by you, who will disagree with you, who will be against you, who will probably even do things to knock you off from your position of leadership. And this is I want you to think of all fractions of life where people are great leaders, and especially when you're entrusted with people and trying to do justice between them, then what happens is often you don't find the truth with the people that you love. Please remember this. Often you do not find the truth to the people that you love. The people that you're close to, the people that you love, the people that have been maybe most loyal to you might not always be on the truth, on the side of the truth. Your family members, my family members, the people who are my blood, they might not be on the side of justice. And that's where the real test begins, is that what will this individual do? Because this individual has power. This individual can sway the truth to falsehood, or sway falsehood to the truth. What will this individual do? Will the individual give preference to their blood, to their families, to their close ones, to the people that they get on with? Or will the person give a preference to justice? Now, if they can do that, what's going to happen automatically, and you and me, we both know this, that the person will lose popularity on this earth. The person will have a lot of people against him because they made that decision. I mean, look at Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There was a woman named Fatima in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's time. And she was a rich woman, and she committed theft. Okay, she was a noble woman, she committed theft, and then the Prophet ﷺ said, okay, according to the law that they had at that time, the Prophet ﷺ said, according to the Medinan law that they had 1400 years ago, he said that she's going to have her hand amputated because she's committed that. That was the law at the time. The whole Medina agreed that they would stay under that law. Okay, so that's the law at the time. And then a group of people came to the Prophet ﷺ, and it's in Sahih Hadith, and they tried to approach the Prophet ﷺ in different ways, but they got a close one, a beloved one, Usama radiallahu anhu, and they said to him, quickly go to the Prophet ﷺ and say, look, she's from a very wealthy, noble background, let her off. And the Prophet ﷺ, when he heard that, he grew angry, and he said, this is the reason why the people before you have actually been destroyed, because whenever a poor person amongst them would commit a crime like this, they would apply the ruling, but whenever a rich person did it, they let them off, and that's the source of corruption. So you can imagine straight away, the Prophet did this, he would have lost popularity among those people. But you know what? He was on the side of justice, and so was the leader. So the leaders after him, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Umar radiallahu anhu, Uthman, Ali radiallahu anhu ajma'in, they were for the side of justice. Anyway, let's go to the second one. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Shabun nasha'a fi ibadatillah." The Prophet ﷺ has praised those young people who start their life off by worshipping Allah, by being in the service of the Deen. Now, all of you young guys that are out there, you've got to understand that. Look, you've got hot blood inside you. You've got a lot of enthusiasm. You've got a lot of agility. You've got, you think that people are all behind you. You're ahead of everyone because you're bouncing with ideas, with things that you can do. And it's true, a lot of young people can make, you know, a lot of change on the earth. But what you've got to understand is that, subhanallah al-azim, all that young blood, what it does also is it makes you want to go towards fitna, towards tribulation, towards sin, towards things that are wrong as well. So young people can either go towards, you know, the right path, or they can go towards the left path. Now, as a young person, it's very difficult to choose the right path over the wrong path, especially when you got your friends that are on drugs, your friends that are, you know, having a nice time, friends that have got girlfriends, friends that have got boyfriends, friends that are, you know, out there just enjoying their life, enjoying their youth, you know, being out there in the glamorous world and doing whatever they want. And to go against that tide and to be a young person, now what does young mean? A lot of ulama have said before the age of 25 or below. They've said if you're a practicing Muslim and you become a practicing Muslim and you stay in that pathway until, you know, you end, Allah Azza wa Jalla has got a special place for you under the arsh, under his throne. The day the Prophet has said, يَوْمَ لَا ظِلَّ إِلَّا ظِلُّهُ, there's no other shade except for that shade on that day. La ilaha illallah. So look, being young, it has its many challenges, and if you can get into that, alhamdulillah, you know, you've made it, right? You've made it in there. So all of you young guys, this is your way to make it under the arsh, inshallah. And just be firm, because what's going to happen, look, after another 10 years, you're going to lose, you're going to start, you know, that enthusiasm inside you is going to slowly start dwindling. After 20 years, it's going to be, a lot of it's going to be gone, right? All the hot blood, hot energy, you want to do this, you want to do that, you know, you want to go out, you want to be with your mates, this, that, and, you know, get up to funny stuff and do pranks and God knows what else, right? All those, and the challenges that you guys have every single year. Well, the biggest challenge should be that you, as a young man, can, you know, tell all your friends, can you become that person who's going to get under the arsh of Allah by being a practicing person while you're young? Well, this is the big challenge to you right now, and you need to think, well, you know what, I've got my station there on the Day of Judgment. I want to be with the Prophet ﷺ, and I want to be with these people. So this is my challenge to, you know, to myself. So when you go against all of that, it really hurts you. It really hurts a lot of people. So anyway, that's the second thing that the Prophet ﷺ has spoken about. Another one he spoke about is a man. He said in the hadith, he said, رَجُلٌ قَلْبُهُ مُعَلَّقٌ بِالْمَسَاجِدِ. There's a man whose heart is attached to the masjid. Every time he goes to the masjid and he comes out, he wants to go back to the masjid. Okay, that's his place. Now, subhanallah, I know that right now we can't do that in many places of the world until the lockdown is over. But if you've been, you know, I want to give you some good news. All those Muslims who've been doing their previous Ramadans in the masjid, and they've been praying inside the masjid, and they've been doing the Taraweehs and the Maghribs and the Ishas and Fajrs and whatever you've been doing, whether it's 3 salahs in the masjid, 2 salahs, 1 salah, 5 salahs, whatever it is, guess what? There's good news for you. The good news is that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us that when a person is traveling or a person is ill, and he or she, they can't do the same actions they were doing while they were in their local area, not traveling, or while they were healthy and not ill, Allah Azza wa Jalla will write the same amount of reward for it. So all those people, I'm giving you good news right now, bi'idhnillah, all those people, however you've done your Taraweeh in the last few years, that's been written for you right now. That's written for you right now. However you've been doing all your iftars and other actions you used to do in Ramadan before this, all of that is being written for you right now. Now, this is our deen. This is our deen, subhanAllah. So if you've had your heart attached to the masjid, then and right now you really want to go back to the masjid, you want the masjids to be open and go back to that, then you know you should know that all that reward is being written for you right now, even though you're reading your salah at home and you're not able to go to the jama'ah and go to the masjid. So anyway, another one the Prophet ﷺ has spoken about is rajulan. There's 2 men, and this extends to 2 women as well. Tahabba fillah. They love each other for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Okay, they love each other for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And what happens is every time they come together, so these are 2 men, okay, every time they come together for the sake of Allah, and every time they depart, they depart for the sake of Allah, meaning that their love for one another is just for Allah's sake. Now, this is real iman. Okay, a lot of Muslims who don't know the true, you know, thing, the meaning of love, what they'll do is that they'll make their love of brotherhood dependent on something else. So either you go with the same guy to the gym, or you share the same WhatsApp group, or you have some kind of social, you know, gathering that you get together with, or you're related by, you know, some kind of, maybe a masjid, you're related through that masjid, you see each other, or maybe the person's your neighbor, or they're close to you, or you know them from your workplace, or something like that. Okay, that's why your primary love for one another is there. And then the secondary one is the fact that, oh yeah, we're here for, for the deen, for the religion. Now, if we can make a primary thing, which is to love one another for the sake of Allah. So, if there's somebody that I like, I actually like them for the sake of Allah. You know what that means? That means whether the person changes tomorrow, they don't change tomorrow, whether they're there tomorrow in my local area, not in my local area, whether they're in the masjid or not in my masjid, whether they're with me at work or not with me at work, whether they're there or not, guess what? I still love them for the sake of Allah. So they could have been a rich person. My love was not tied to their richness. So even if they were to lose all that money, it wasn't tied to that. So my love still carries on because it was for Allah's sake. Right? So you can see a lot of people have this thing, like even in the masjid, I've seen this a lot of times, like people will say salam to one another based on who's who. All right. So if there's someone who's regarded to be big, everyone will, assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, right? And a person who's not that famous or that big in the society, then people tend to sort of be a bit more reserved. Oh yeah, okay, I've seen that guy. Yeah, it's all right. I don't need to say salam to him. Right? I don't need to show my respect to that person. Well, this is something which those Muslims who are conditional with their love, they'll do. As for those who have no condition and it's only solely based with Allah, for Allah's sake, you know what? They don't have that. And the beauty of this is that as brothers and as sisters for sisters, okay, don't cross it over like sisters for brothers, brothers for sisters. I'm talking about brothers to brothers and sisters to sisters. As an ummah, when we love each other for the sake of Allah, you know what? That care is on a high level. It's much more deeper than you would think. Because then what it is that mahabbah, that love you have is a love that, every time you're with each other, you're remembering Allah. Every time you're with each other, you're doing things because of Allah Azza wa Jal. And you won't basically be mucking around and sinning and so on, with such people. You wouldn't do that because Allah Azza wa Jal, that can't be a love based on Allah's love. So there's a lot that goes into this. Anyway, on the Day of Judgment, Allah Azza wa Jal will have a special announcement for these people, and He will say, أَيْنَ الْمُتَحَابُونَ بِجَلَالِي? Where are all those people who used to love one another for my majestic sake? I am going to اليوم أظلهم في ظلي يوم لا ظل إلا ظل. I'm going to now today put them under the shade of my throne. There is no other shade on this day except for my shade. So there's going to be a special announcement, and Allah will call them out on the Day of Judgment, and Allah is going to bring them under that shade. Another one the Prophet ﷺ speaks about is, now this is one that a lot of people need to think about, because there are a lot of illicit relationships going around. Okay, there's a lot of illicit relationship, whether it's hidden, whether it's in the open, whether people know of it, not know of it. Allah knows of it. Okay, so what happens here is that there is a man and a woman of beauty and of dignity. So she's a woman that has got beauty and she's got dignity, and she calls him and she says, come, let's do the act. And he says, Inni akhafullah, I fear Allah. Now this can be reversed with a man who might have the wealth and he might have the dignity and honor, and then the man's calling her, and she says, Inni akhafullah, I fear Allah. So there's a call to an illicit relationship, and the person says, I fear Allah. That, to say that when you've got everything in front of you, when you can just do it, you can go ahead and you can do what you like, but you do it only for Allah's sake. Now that takes a lot of iman, a lot of guts, and subhanAllah, your iman is secure, your iman is safe. Now if you've got anyone out there who's got an illicit relationship, you need to understand that if you give up that relationship, now either you make it halal, so you marry the person, or if you can't marry them, you give it up. You give it up for the sake of Allah, and your station under the arsh is guaranteed. What you can do this Ramadan, you can just simply say, look, I'm being straight up with you. Either you make it halal, let's make it halal and have a nikah, or if I can't have a nikah with you, let's end it. I don't want to talk to you again. Now it's going to hurt a lot. It's going to hurt a lot, and that's the reason why you're going to be under the arsh, because this is not an easy thing to do. And that's why you're going to be under the arsh. But it's a massive one. Those people have made their time and made their place under the arsh if you've been able to do this. Subhanallah al-Azim. Now, another one the Prophet ﷺ speaks about, the sixth one, he speaks about is a person who gives sadaqah, gives charity in a way that his left hand doesn't know that he's giving it. Now, this doesn't mean that you hide your left hand and your left hand doesn't know that you're giving it. It doesn't mean that. It means that you're so secret about it is that nobody else knows. It's a kind of a metaphor. So nobody knows. One of the biggest and best ways to give sadaqah is that nobody knows you've done it. And there are people like this in this ummah, and may Allah Azza wa Jal bless them. Nobody knows who they are. Do you know that there were people amongst the pious predecessors? One of them was Imam Fudail, one of the teachers of Imam Bukhari. While he was alive, nobody knew that he used to do this. But when he died, they find out. What was it? People, these poor people, they used to wake up in the morning, and they used to open their door, and there used to be a bag of gold coins in front of the door. Somebody just dropped off a bag of gold coins in the night. Nobody knows who it is, and random people would get it. So random people will wake up, and people will wake up in this particular town. They wake up and they look at it. Is there any gold there? So they were poor people, and sometimes they found it, and they were so happy that some guy in the society is doing it. And guess what? Night after night after night, different people used to get it, and they used to all talk with one another. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Who is this guy that's doing this, right? And they don't know. They just don't know who this person is. And then they do the janazah of Imam Fudail. Once Imam Fudail is buried, the next night, the whole week, the whole month, the whole year, nobody's dropping off any bags of gold. Subhanallah. That Imam kept it a secret from everyone. Not even his wife knew what he was doing. That is something, subhanAllah. That is powerful, right? And here are some people, they want to make sure the name's there. It's nothing wrong if your name's there. If you're advertising it because other people will be encouraged, you're going to get the reward for them as well. Their reward, you'll get an equal share of that. But if you think that you might not be able to be so faithful and sincere, then what you need to do is you need to be careful and just give it without people knowing. In fact, the Sharia says, okay, one of the delicate things it says is that when you're giving it to the poor person, you shouldn't feel that, I'm waiting for this big thank you. A lot of people do that. I'm waiting for that thank you. I'm waiting for that big, Jazakallah khair, this and that. Oh, you're wonderful, you're this, you're that. And they're going to hug you and blah, blah. Or they're going to write some wonderful message to you. Don't even wait for that. Think that, say thank you for giving me the opportunity to give you sadaqah. Because if you weren't around, who would I give sadaqah to, right? So the fact that Allah has given you the opportunity to be a rich person, to give that sadaqah to a poor person, thank Allah for the fact that He's giving you the opportunity to be on this side of having the upper hand and not being on the other side of having the lower hand. Okay, so keep that in mind. And so far we've covered, all 6 of them. Either a just ruler, either a person who's a young person who started to be in the ibadah of Allah Azza wa Jal at a young age, before the age of, let's say, 25 or under, or a person who loves one another for the sake of Allah in this ummah, or a person whose heart is attached to the masjid, or a man or a woman, and they call each other for the illicit act, and they say inni akhafullah. One of them calls the other, and the other one says inni akhafullah, I fear Allah. Okay, or the person who gives sadaqah secretly that the left hand doesn't know, meaning that nobody knows. And the final one is a very, very, very subhanAllah. Allah's made this final one very easy. رَجُلٌ ذَكَرَ اللَّهَ خَالِيًا فَفَاضَتْ عَيْنَاهُ. A man who remembers Allah Azza wa Jalla in secrecy and his eyes shed tears, or her eyes, a woman who remembers Allah in secrecy and her eyes shed tears. Okay, this is a very, the last one's been made the easiest. You might say, well, how is that easy? All you have to do, look, just make yourself cry. And how do you do that? Well, start to talk about your sins in front of Allah Azza wa Jal, and tell Allah Azza wa Jal, about your sins and what you've done. And what we'll do, in fact, tomorrow's session will be about making dua, and will be about how we can make our du'as better. Better du'as in front of Allah. So that will be tomorrow's session. I want to say to you, before I make my dua today, all of you you've watched, please don't leave. I'm going to make a dua very soon. There's going to be a link at the bottom of this of this YouTube video. Please, can you make a donation? We are helping people who don't actually ask for help. This is a very unique one. You know what I said to you, that people don't even know that the sadaqah has been given. There are people out there that don't ask, but they're waiting for someone to give it to them, right? And those kind of people we're helping through this charity helping need today. Normally Ramadan would go throughout the country and would do so many fundraisers, but we can't this year. So we're doing this all online. There's a target to be reached. Can you please look at the target and donate as much as you can, inshallah? So I want every person to do that before you do anything else after this video, inshallah. If you raise your hands, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa Mawlana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim. Allah, we ask you to make us from those people who will reach Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the day of judgment, to be next to him. Allah, make us be in his company, make us be under your arsh on the day of judgment, for us to be in his company, with the company of the prophets, for us to be amongst the 7 people or others that you have actually created and you would have put under your arsh. Please make us of those people who will reach your arsh and your only shade on the day of judgment. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Accept our fasting, our Quran reading, and our a'mal, and all the actions that we are doing in this month of Ramadan. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khayri khalqi Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ameen ya Arhamar Rahimin. I'm asking all of you, please, to do this one act now. Just before you turn right to anything else, your phone or anyone else, just go to the bottom of this YouTube link and you'll find a link there, and make a donation, inshallah. May Allah bless you, bless all your family and all your loved ones. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.